Hi everyone, this is Arsenal Fan Circle. We are live, season 3, episode 5. The season has gotten off to a great start. Like I'm going to say in one of the banners here, we are 4.5% there to our goal of fourth place this season. If we're going to get 66 points, we just need 21 more wins here. So we're getting a little bit of feedback, so someone can just check their volumes there. Let's go through everyone you know already. Darren has been with us before, and Gary up top here. The two up top, Darren and Gary. Thanks for joining us. And we got two fullbacks here, Mahir and Tony. And we got the quarterback in the middle, Graham Brooks. Thanks for joining us, Graham.
Thank you very much, Ray. Privilege and a pleasure to be on the show, you boys. Looking forward to getting into it tonight and talking about what's been, in fact, a really good weekend for the Arsenal.
A really good weekend, and news has just come through that the old enemy has been beaten 1-0, and Graham was just telling me in the green room, lucky to be beaten 1-0 as well.
Absolutely. I thought Everton deserved to win by more goals, to be fair. I thought Tottenham were absolutely dreadful, and long may it continue.
A quick word about Everton, because I didn't see the game, Graham. They look that they could be decent this season.
I thought that the midfield three looked very good. Alan, Decor, and the new guy, James Rodriguez, are very impressive.
Yeah.
And considering they'd not had a lot of time to play together, I thought that they were all excellent today. I thought Alan was absolutely superb. I thought he was man of the match. Rodriguez offered some good moments. And I thought generally Dakar was good as well. I thought they worked really well. The midfield was good. I thought Everton were the better team. Had they a bit more sharpness up front, Richarlison taken a couple of chances, they could have won by more.
Yeah, tough mid-table teams this year. But let's get into Arsenal stuff. We're going to get into the win yesterday, but we got to talk about Martinez. I'm going to go to you, Martinez. He's being sold to Aston Villa, four-year contract. We turned a loyal goalkeeper that would have sold for maybe 3 to 5 million into a saleable asset of 20 million during the project restart here.
Look, I mean, as much as we love Martinez, we wanted first team football, and it will be sad to see him. Obviously, it will be sad to see him. We would love to have two quality keepers.
Yeah.
One of them Leno and one of them Martinez. But like I say, he wanted first team football. We wish him the best at Aston Villa. And Aston Villa fans, you have something to be excited about having a quality goalkeeper.
Yeah, Graham. 4-year contract, Martinez.
Yeah, I think it was always Ray. It was always going to be this way, wasn't it? I can remember at the back end of last season when Martinez came in, he was absolutely outstanding at the back end of last season. I think his saves per shot ratio is actually higher than Leno's. But he came in and he was absolutely outstanding, and he's proved immediately good enough to be a number one. The problem with that was always going to be at the start of this season that both goalkeepers viewed themselves as number one, and they were never going to. One of them was never going to sit on the bench as a number two. And I think Arteta had a decision to make, and I think he's always seen Leno as his number one. And as well as Martinez played, I think that is the reason why he's going. I think as was said earlier, I think he asked Arteta for more assurances about his position in the team this season, and I don't think Arteta said what he wanted to hear, and as a result of that, he's obviously decided to leave. You've got to remember, he's 27, 28 now, and he's taken 10 years to become the number one, and having had an outstanding end of the season as number one, he wants to play for Argentina, and so he needs to be playing first team football. And I think it boiled down to in the end who Arteta thought was his number one, Ray. And I think he's obviously clearly Leno was. Let's not disrespect Leno here, because Leno was the number one, wasn't he?
Yeah,
So
we
I
have
think,
short-term memories. A lot of fans have short-term memories, Graham.
and he was
Myself
outstanding,
included.
wasn't he? He was
Yeah.
in the poll last season. I'll let some of the other lads jump in now, but in the poll last season, Auba won the Player of the Year, but Leno was second, wasn't he? And for 30 games, he was absolutely outstanding. One or two mistakes, but generally, he was the one. Remember, we're facing most up there, we're facing most shots in the league. Teams were
Yeah, he
shooting
was
us for fun, and he was
overworked,
making
right?
great saves. So
Yeah,
I think Ray, he's earned the right to be number one. Arteta sees him as a number one, and it's a shame for Martinez, who's been absolutely outstanding. But he made that decision, and that's why Martinez is leaving, unfortunately.
Yeah, Darren, I'll go to you next for a quick word on Martinez. From my point of view, I was getting used to having two great goalkeepers that, in case we would have injuries this season, we would be covered in that department. But we've obviously needed to generate some cash, and to get 20 million from the goalkeeper from Martinez, as Graham has said, 10 years at the club. He wanted to play. He's going to probably has 10 years left in his career, maybe more as a goalkeeper. But your views on it, Darren?
I kind of actually wanted him to because of how well he did for us. But at the same time, you can understand why he's now gone where he is now, and hopefully Leno can sort of put up that gear, sort of that standard of how he played and how Martinez played, and it'd be a shame to lose him, but at the same time, we need money to gain more players for us to build up again.
So, Tony, in order to generate some cash, would you be happy with, if we get Partey or Auba and Martinez's sale would have funded some of those acquisitions?
I'd say not fund too much because we're going to have to spend 10 million for another goalkeeper, it looks like. But any extra money works. Like I said earlier, he was only worth 2 million a couple of months ago, so it's nice to get 20 million from him. And like Graham was saying, for the most part, to me, he was the number one player of the season, not the second. If he didn't get injured, I think he'd been our player of the year.
Yep. And Gary, have your say on the topic as well, Gary.
Yeah, I assumed with the rebuild that we were having that at some point we were going to have to let go, some of those players that we definitely have backups for, and that would be one of the goalkeepers. I assume they would go for the one that would maybe draw in the most money because they seem to be constrained with the amount of funds that they have. But either one, I thought was going to have to go if they were going to be able to be successful in the rebuild and get what they need in terms of other players in other positions where they have less of a backup and more of a need.
So in summary on Emi Martinez, a great servant for Arsenal, as Graham had mentioned. We wish him well, except for the two fixtures that we're going to face him this season. Two fixtures plus, so we beat him in the cups. Steve, again, I said Arsenal fans twice as happy today. Not only did the Spuds lose, but for Jose to think we were linked to him before Arteta saved us. Yeah, imagine that, Graham. Some fans actually did want Jose Mourinho way back when, 9 months ago.
Yeah, I think I can remember that well. Actually, I think it was But having said that, I don't think any true Arsenal fan wanted Mourinho because of how he disrespected Arsene Wenger and some of the things he said about Arsenal Football Club, which you can't forgive him for. I think the choice last year was really between Arteta and Ancelotti at the time. I remember. And I can remember at the time, as Emery's reign was drawing to a close, I did a show with Robbie Lyle of Arsenal Fan TV, and he asked me who I'd want, and I thought that Arteta would be a gamble. I honestly thought Ancelotti, a proven championship winner at Chelsea, won Champions Leagues, and I thought a club like Arsenal Football Club shouldn't be taking chances, But hey, what did I know?
I think, Graham, 95% of the fan base were thinking the same thing. I was advocating Benitez because at the time I thought I figured out the Chinese league was coming to an end and that it was perfect timing for Benitez to be called back. But what do we know, right?
Yeah, I think, and the thing is, he's come in, he's totally galvanised the club. He's got the first thing he's done is he's brought a structure to the side. He's brought structure to the side. He's basically got the players and the fans on side. Obviously, he talked about non-negotiables when he come in. He had that brilliant first press conference, and basically he's, let's face it, we've got a really bright young head coach here. I know he's now called team manager, isn't he? But I think he's moving us in the right direction. He's got players. He's giving the players belief. He's getting the best out of the players. Remember, not a lot of these are his players. And I know we're going to talk about tonight possibly trying to get in that top four. And if we can get those two midfield signings over the line, or at least one of them, I think we could gate crash that top four. But I think what he's done already, you can see what he's given a structure to the side. He's given players belief. He's sort of like, as I said earlier, he's galvanised the fans. And I noticed yesterday in the team shape in the game against Fulham, there was the way we were playing. There was like a really definitive identity. The way he's got the wing backs tucking in now. He plays this 3-4-3 because obviously we were giving up too many shots last year. Plays the 3-4-3. He's got the wing backs tucking in, so they make a midfield. It frees up the space on the left-hand side for Tierney to move forward and engage with Aubameyang. Remember, Tierney's the third left centre back. The back three. Yeah. And then what he gets players putting the opposition out of shape onto other sides of the pitch that frees up space a lot. That allows space for Willian to roam in. And there was times yesterday when we were almost like a back four at times as well. And he's got us high pressing from the front. His non-negotiables is players have to give as much off the ball as they do on the ball. And I think over the years, I've watched Arsenal for years, and 50 years, my 50th season following Arsenal. But as good as the football was under Wenger, we weren't great off the ball. And he has come in, and football's changed now. Off the ball work is absolutely key for me. It's just as important as on the ball work, and it's more a physical, powerful game more than a technical game now, as it was when Wenger first came along, Ray. And I think he's come in and he's got this style now, and we are set up to counter attack. We have had trouble breaking down weak teams in the past in the system without a creative player. But I thought yesterday the movement and the team, the way, and we're going to talk about Gabriel and William, the new signings, the way that the passing out from Gabriel, the movement from William, the way and the goal, we scored another brilliant goal yesterday, reminiscent of the goal almost like we scored a few weeks ago when Aubameyang curled it in. So yeah, there's a lot to like about what Arteta's brought to the team already, and I think he's only going to get better, Ray.
Let's just stay with that for a second, Graham. Do you think that's something that has been trained on and being played on the training field? Aubameyang isolating the right back and the switch from right to left with that crossfield ball. We've seen that twice now.
Absolutely, mate. It's definitely a training ground move. The way they play out from the back, Bellerin at times is the release valve, and then normally there's a switch in play that gets it over to Aubameyang when the team is out of shape and he's able to come in on his right foot. There's space for him to move inside and get away a shot. It's obviously something teams are going to get used to now because we're having a lot of success with it. So it's definitely a training ground move, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so teams will definitely game plan for that move and watch for it. But let's go around the table here. Your observations, Mahir, from yesterday's game, and what was your thoughts as well from yesterday?
Yeah, I noticed also with Arteta trying to implement, it's like a change in formation from attack to defense. I mean, I even saw at one point when they freeze framed it in the box, in the opposition box, in Fulham's box, there was at least 7 of our players willing to take a shot.
At the moment,
I mean, everybody
when
was there.
Aubameyang was shooting,
and that
there was 6 or 7 players right there in the shot. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, how fantastic is that? Because, I mean, even our defensive shape when we don't have the ball, and our attacking shape, as Graham said, when we do have the ball, I mean, it's fantastic. I love that Arteta's implemented his own sort of formations and playing styles. I mean, it's fantastic. And to think, I was one of those who was against Arteta coming and managing Arsenal, our team, but he's proving bloody
Graham, I just wanted to quickly get your take on that. What do you think the club was doing in appointing Arteta some fans had said it was the cheap option, but it would seem to be the right option now.
I think. Well, look. I mean, I think the thing is what they thought was. I think that Arteta was almost like a yes man. So they thought that because obviously, if Mourinho came, for example, he would have came with a massive pay packet and demanded a lot of money to spend on players. Ancelotti again. When you get these top managers, they look at the squad. They look at what how the club's structured, what sort of money they're going to have available to them. So, and I think people looked at Arteta. Remember, he was only a number 2, wasn't he? He was a number 2. He wasn't a manager, so it was a gamble. Because when you take a non-manager and put him as head coach, as good as the fact that he worked under Pep was obviously an advantage. But he was a non-manager, and I think a lot of fans were a bit worried because of the fact of lack of experience and the fact that he wouldn't be calling the board out. He wouldn't be calling the Cronkies out or the board out. And I think he's already shown since he's won that FA Cup now, he's willing to challenge the board, and he's earned the right, hasn't he?
He's got some credit behind them. Yeah. Exactly. Gary, your overall impressions from yesterday, and obviously a great win, and away from home. We haven't done a lot of that last season. Hadn't done a lot of winning away from home. I think it was four games we won last season away from home.
Yeah, definitely enjoyed this game. It looked like the team had a plan and they were able to stick to it. Everybody seemed to know their role. There wasn't any confusion as to what was going on. Maybe a little bit in the beginning, but I think that as they grew into the game, they got comfortable with it, and we were able to put shots on goal and be able to control. The back line was pretty. That defense was really solid, I believe. Which is what we've seen with Arteta as each game he's coached and managed. The team, especially the back line of it, has looked more and more solid, more and more competent in what they're doing. So definitely enjoyed it. I would like to see more goals, but that's just me being greedy. But otherwise,
yeah, we all wanted an extra goal to be 4 or 5. But Gary, I'm going to stay with you a second. We talked about Bernd Leno and what he had done this season. After 2 minutes, Ainsley Maitland-Niles makes a very errant back pass. Some supporters tried to lay that at the foot of Gabriel. I didn't really think that it was his fault. But Bernd Leno kind of got us out of jail. So testament to what Graham was saying about Leno and other fans saying he is a good goalkeeper.
Yeah, he snuffed that out as soon as that pass was made and knew that his defender probably wasn't going to get to it in time, and made a play which put him in a good position to make that stop. You could see Gabriel kind of looking at the pass, going, "Whoa, what?" By the time he had a chance to react, it was already by him, and Leno made a really good play to actually come up, and we've seen that from Martinez, right? We've seen that a similar kind of play where the ball gets past the back line, and he's right there to snuff it out. And we've seen it again with Leno. So, if Martinez was your favorite, I think Leno at least showed you there that he can do similar things as far as making those stops when the play looks like it's going to go against us.
Yeah. Any other observations, Gary, before we'll go to Darren and Tony then?
Yeah, no, the only, like I said, the one difference that I saw between the two goalies for me anyways is that when Leno gets his hands on the ball, sometimes it pops out. It seemed to always get stuck right on Martinez's hands, but I only saw that really the one time that happened. Otherwise, I think he was pretty solid there. But if those are the only differences I have really between the two goalies. I don't think we could have gone wrong with either one. I just assumed we were going to go for the one that brought in the most funds. But I think we're if we're able to get that midfield cleaned up and upgraded with that change, then I'm all for it.
And a quick word for El Neni as well. I think he had a very tidy game as well. All things being equal, I think he can be a very, very decent squad player. He's one of those players that kind of gets picked on by the fans. I don't know why. He does a very, very solid job, consistent job. He's not going to be man of the match every week. And we're going to go to Tony later to give us the Don Juan man of the match for this game as well. But Darren, your thoughts on the game overall?
I was probably from the very start, especially the start of possession we had from the start as soon as that whistle went. Especially like Journey, you had all of them sort of running up, and the possession we had was, and the defence we had was on point. Even when we didn't have, obviously we didn't have David Luiz on pitch. I don't think we did have him. He wasn't playing with it yesterday. David Luiz.
He was out injured yesterday, David
Yeah.
Luiz. Yeah.
So even
So we're going to miss
without,
him for a few weeks.
but without him, we still did well in sort of the back defence now. So, and the goals we scored. I mean, the first one was a little mess. We had Williams all tangled up, but
Hmm.
you know it went in. Yeah, I was really pleased with the result. I think it would be nice if we just had like one more, but do you know what? I'm happy with the result that we had.
Can't be greedy, I guess. And we can't really talk about being top of the league after just one game either yet. We're going to wait till about the third game, right?
Yeah.
So we'll do that.
I think we can be happy, but we've still got other games, so we can be happy on this one. But
Lots of
focus
work
on
to get through. Yep,
Yeah.
for sure. Tony, any other things before we move on to the debutants, and we'll talk about Willian and Gabrielle, and any other observations from the game?
The energy and tempo and the commitment is what you want to see. That's one of the things I was most impressed with. I really wasn't expecting to see Gabrielle. I thought Saliba would play. I guess he's a short on fitness.
Yep.
Gabrielle came out there and gave almost a man of a match performance out there.
Well, hold on to your thoughts. You're going to give us the Don Juan man in the match in a little bit, so don't get too carried away. I know who my man in the match was. But Graham, we'll get into the debutants, but I wanted to ask you a couple of questions. I'm very interested. A lot of fans know that you do the tactical breakdown, and I give you a lot of kudos. You're really, really good at it. Very informative. You make it really easy for everyone to understand the mechanics of the game and what's happening tactically. And we try to do that about 60 minutes before the games as well sometimes, when we get those lineups and try to figure out what Arteta's doing. I had a general question for you, Graham. Now that you're just watching the games now on TV, right? Does that make it more difficult for you to analyze what's going on the field rather than being there in the stadium?
That's a really good question. I think the when you're in the stadium, because I've got a very good seat in the stadium because I sit up high with my son.
Yeah.
So I sit at the halfway line, so I've got a very good view. And so I watch the game. So my thoughts watching the game are there. Now, when I watch it on TV, obviously you're influenced sometimes by, because you've got like on Saturday you had like Crouching Ferdinand, and the funny sort of thing is when you listen to people. I'm not saying I'm an expert. I'm not an ex-footballer, but I don't always agree with what they say when they're sort of like analysing it. So, in answer to your question, I think it's easier watching it in the stadium because basically I focused on the game without listening to other people's views. So that's and I come out the stadium sometimes raw, So when you do it, so like you do a fan cam with Robbie after it, you come out and you try and talk like I do, which is different to sort of like DT and Troops, because they're all passion and energy, aren't they? I'm trying to analyse it, and without swearing, So, but I find it easier in the stadium is the answer to that question, simply because when you're watching it on telly, you've got the other people, the commentator, and then you've got the summariser basically, and sometimes you get, I'm not saying you get totally influenced by their thoughts, but you listen to them, and I'd rather not hear them. I should watch it with the sound down, I think. But no, I find it easier watching it in the stadium. I prefer watching in the stadium because it's better live than it is watching on the telly. But it's better watching on the telly at the moment than not at all, of course.
Absolutely, yeah. That's what we need right now. Everyone needs to be safe right now. Tagging on to that and moving into the next section here, we're going to talk about the debutants, and I'll stay with you, Graham. My question is, Gabrielle Saliba was injured, I believe, so Gabrielle was called up to play.
I thought he was injured. I thought he was injured as well. I thought that Gabrielle would be short because he hadn't played for 6 months. And I thought Saliba had a really good performance against Milton Keynes Dons for 45 minutes. And he was composed, he was physical, he was powerful, he played out well from the back. I thought he did all the things in that game that would have impressed Arteta. And of course, I thought he would start. My back three, I thought, would have been Saliba, Holding, and Tierney. And so I was very surprised when I saw Gabriel in the lineup. So I thought, like you, he must have an injury. But I read online this morning that Arteta, he didn't have an injury. Basically, he's saying that because he's so young, he wants to bring him in slowly. He doesn't want to. He's got to get used to the pace, and they don't want to rush him because of his age. So I think that was the reason he didn't play. I was quite surprised about that because I thought he would play, but that's what Arteta said. But having said that, Gabriel came in, right, didn't he? He was absolutely superb. I mean, as you say, that one slightly dodgy moment, whether you felt he was at fault for it or not, it looked like the old curse of the Arsenal centre-half was going to kick in quite early.
Yeah.
But he from that moment on, for the next 80-odd minutes, he was absolutely superb. He demanded the ball, his passing, his clearances, he won headers, his recoveries. He did everything right. And of course, he scored, didn't he? Or slightly fortunately. So I've got his numbers here for you, Ray. 95% pass accuracy, 5 ball recoveries, 3 clearances, 2 tackles, 1 out of 2. So 100% tackles completed. 1 shot, 1 goal. So a goal and a clean sheet. And for me, he was superb. But I thought he was everybody's man of the match. But I think you've got to give it, I suppose, to William because he came in and his numbers were just as impressive. 96% pass accuracy, 5 ball recoveries, 3 chances created, 2 assists, 2 shots. And he had that brilliant shot, didn't he, that went off the post. And he was involved in the first goal, the keeper blocking the shot that led to Laka's goal. All my Chelsea friends who telling me he can't take a corner, he won't get it above the first man. And then he delivers a corner straight on to Gabriel, didn't he? Proving me wrong.
That was all right. We'll take some of that.
And then a brilliant switch crossfield ball towards Aubameyang for his goal. So William, absolutely outstanding, very impressive start. And the thing I liked about him was the way we've been crying out for a player who basically can sort of like drift past players, get into a forward position and roam around, pick the ball up, run past players, pull players out of shape. And I thought that he started on the right, but the way Arteta set the shape of the team up, when the wing backs tucked in, he was able to find the space and roam around, get on the ball, and make things happen. So, and we've been crying out for someone to create. I think people are going to say it was only Fulham, but I thought he looked very good, and I think you saw what he brings to the team, Ray, on Saturday. And if he plays like that for us this season, he's going to be quality. And now last season he created 76 chances for Chelsea. Our best creator last year was Pepe with 40. So that's what he brings to the team.
Yeah, and I think he was 6th best in the Premier League in terms of chances created.
So good from open play, but also good on set plays. He's good on his right foot, good right foot shot, good with free kicks, and he takes a corner. So our 2 debutants before the other boys come in, I thought were our best 2 players yesterday. I don't know what everyone else thought.
Well, I'm going to ask you a couple more questions. The fact that Gabriel did play and we did have 3 at the back, it means that maybe Arteta is kind of wedded to 3 at the back right now. Would you agree with that, Graham? Yeah.
I do. I think for now, I did see there were times yesterday when he went to a 4. There was times when it did switch to a 4 when you had Bellerin drifted back on the right, Tierney on the left, Holding and Gabriel. It was a 4 at times, but I think when we play against the better sides, it's definitely going to be a 3 at the back with 2 wing backs. And I think the thing is, the reason why he's playing that formation at the moment, Ray, is because we get transitioned through too easily because our midfielders haven't got like great recovery speed. And so, for example, like Ceballos is great one-touch player, a great orchestrator from deep, can build the play up. Xhaka's a great passer, but Xhaka's very immobile, and Ceballos isn't very quick. So when you play 4 at the back, you want like an enforcer, a physical, powerful midfielder who can sit in front of the back 4, who basically can get up and down the pitch. We haven't got that at the moment, so that's why he wants Partey, I think. So at the moment, until he gets a really physical, powerful player who's going to protect the back four, who's going to be able to recover, get back into shape quickly and win tackles and protect the back four, I think he's going to stick with this shape, right?
Does anyone else on the panel have questions for Graham? I've got a few more, but I don't want to hog all of the questions. So Gary, Darren, am I here? Tony? And anyone in the comments as well, if you've got a question for Graham, hit him up. I'll hit you with another question, Graham, and then we'll move on to the debutants. We're going to talk a little bit more about Willian, although we did kind of touch on it. But we're starting to see a deliberate plan to recruit the right players in the right positions. Talking about Saliba, Gabriel, and now Willian. And we've seen arguably the two debutants would be high up in the man of the match categories yesterday. That's a welcome thing to see from our new manager now, Mikel Arteta, and the structure that's going on at the club.
Yeah. So look, I think that he's obviously now he's having a say now in the players that he buys, isn't he? Under the new structure with Raul gone, Arteta and Edu are working together, and they've obviously identified the weaknesses in the team. We do need a bit of creation up front. We do need a bit more solidity in centre defence. We have been struggling for centre halves, and I think that he trusts these players, and I think he's found two good players there, right?
Exactly. Good signs that the recruitment is working. You know, we have spent money over the years, but now we're buying maybe the right players.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely. I think we've made very poor recruitment. I think Mustafi was one who absolutely exemplified that. I've no idea where we bought Mustafi. It was a panic buy at the time. I thought we got rid of the wrong one.
I'm looking at Tony. Looking at Tony when you say that, Graham. He's dreading that window, that whole window, that summer, 90 million plus.
Yeah, look, to me, I would rather have had. I wasn't a massive Xhaka fan. I do see the value in what he brings, but I think we need an upgrade. I know my mate Harry Simu on Same Old Arsenal. He's a massive Xhaka fan. He'd hate me for saying that, but I you know, Xhaka has got his qualities, but I think for me, he's very immobile. He's done. I think Arteta's getting the best out of him. The way he sort of like gets him moved. He drifts over to cover that left hand side when the wing back goes forward. He's got players around him now, so he's not in positions where there's a lot of space, so he's exposed. So. But I think ultimately, if you want to win the league, you're going to have better players than that. Players who you haven't got to protect all the time. You've got to have powerful, physical players. I think football's changed now. It's all about power, pace, and being able to recover. And football's won in transition a lot of the time. The teams like Liverpool, the reason why Liverpool win the games is simply because they win the ball back quickly and get it forward quickly to their pacey forwards. It's all about pace up front and power, recovery, winning the ball back, and pinning teams back, and it's no longer the technical game it was when Wenger was in charge. You know, pretty patterns through the pitch like we used to play. As much as I used to love watching that. Yeah.
Just like Wilfried Zaha and Crystal Palace yesterday, quick transition, get ahead, get the cross, and he's able to finish there. Darren, quick word then on Gabriel and Willian, and we'll move on to the next topic. Then we're going to talk about Aubameyang after that.
Well, to say this, I've got a few mates who are Chelsea supporters, and they hate the fact that we've got Willian because we had so much sort of expectations and doubts whether of having him. I think he's definitely an asset to the team now. I think it's something that we have needed for quite a few weeks now, sort of from last season till now. He's definitely improved the team.
It's that kind of production. Yes. Willian is going to bring us that kind of production that Graham has talked about. He's going to link the forward and midfield really, really well. Gary?
Sorry about that. Yeah.
Problem?
Yeah. So I guess in regards to the Gabriel and William, it was a welcome sight to see them out there. William definitely presented a difference in pace to the game. He was all over the place. I mean, just his one assist to Auba on the left, where he just sprung on a ball that leaked out after a foul before the referee had a chance to stop it, and got the ball up front. And next thing you know, we got a goal, and we're moving. We're getting the ball back into the middle. Definitely enjoyed seeing them, and that, like everyone said on the panel so far, we're seeing better. We're getting our, when we do our transfers now, those players are able to now come in and actually, provide some, be able to, provide their, skills on the field immediately without having to wait as much as we've seen in the past. They fit in really well, and as soon as we see Saliba and Gabriel out there, we'll see, even more. So I'm looking forward to that as well.
Yeah, and that's interesting what Graham was saying about Saliba, that they want to wait on Saliba a little bit. I would have thought everybody has that perception that he's been an Arsenal player, but of course he's been with St. Etienne, and he's not as far forward as other players probably at this point in time.
Yeah, and we've seen that with a lot of the other players as well, right? Saka, came on, was like playing consistently, and towards the end of the season, he was sitting, or always, at least I was wondering why. And I think they're letting the kids get a little feel into the game, and then eventually, as they get more comfortable and the team feels more confident with them, things will, they'll be fine. So I like the way that he's doing that.
Yep. Okay, so Tony, we're going to go to the Don Juan man of the match now. This is a segment, Graham, that we give Tony some time to speak, and he gives us the Don Juan man of the match. And I have a feeling it could be a player from Brazil and a debutant as well. So that's down to 2, right?
Yep.
So it's either Willian or Gabriel, right? Give it to us.
It's Willian. I was going to give it to Gabriel, but I just think Willian just did more with his movements and off the ball and on the ball. I just think he contributed just a tad bit more.
I have to agree with that, and hopefully we're getting all of the value out of him in the next 2 years. And I don't know if he's going to last the 3 years, but it's not really a consideration for this season. As long as he continues to have output like yesterday, and Graham, where he set that ball up for Aubameyang again, we just talked about it briefly as being a training ground ploy, switching from right to left. We've seen Saka do it in the Community Shield, and now we've gone and done it again.
Yeah, I think clearly that's what they're looking to do. I think William's got tremendous technique on the ball, and he's able to the way he picked that pass out was superb. And I think we're always looking. There's 2 ways with Aubameyang. What they try to do at the moment is like they did in the cup final. I think Tierney comes out on the left-hand side and looks to play a long ball over the top. So what you'll see sometimes is Lacazette will sort of like come into. He's like a focal point in our build-up play. But what he tries to do also is he tries to bring the centre half out. So he'll pull the centre half out, which means Aubameyang comes into that space, and then that creates the space for him to run into, and then they look to switch it to Aubameyang, or when Tierney's on the ball, try it. Maybe if they're high pressing us, it'll be a long ball over the top if they're playing a high line. But if they're, Fulham sat in a deep block yesterday most of the time, and to be honest with you, Fulham were very well organised yesterday. I was very impressed with the way they were set up. So they had to be broken down. I think it worked well because we got the early goal. Because let's face it, I think for that first 8 minutes they were on the front foot, Fulham, and so the goal, you could argue, almost came against the run of play. But going back to what the point is that we're looking always to get Aubameyang into that space, that half space, so he can come in on his right foot and have a shot at goal.
A quick question for you, Graham. Do you think he'll be as effective through the middle? I'm kind of thinking he's going to have to play with his back to the ball or through balls. So it's not that the angles are not there for him. He's going to thrive more on the left.
This is a debate that's been going on for a long time. Arteta sees his best position where he is now. He's able to come in onto that right foot from the left. And if you look at the stats, I think the stats support that he scores more goals out wide. But I think he's capable of playing through the middle. He's not going to be someone who's going to be able to hold the ball up like, say, Lacazette or Eddie. But what he does offer is, and I would like to see Pepe possibly becoming more central. If Aubameyang was to go down the middle, Pepe could come more central, and they could combine then and play 1-2s. And also you get the one thing you can do is try and use his pace in behind. I think if he plays central, though, teams will sit really deep because they'll be very weary of him running through. So for me, I think it's where he's playing at the moment is probably his best position. I think get more value out of him there.
Yeah, and Gary and I have been talking about Pepe being more in that inside right channel, where if he beats a defender, he's through almost on goal. You know?
Yeah, and he is, and a lot of his goals at Lille were like that, where he was. I know he played on the wing, but he had a fullback sometimes bombing on beyond him to give him that chance to come inside. But I've noticed a lot if you watch him on YouTube, a lot of his goals where he picks the ball up centrally, he just drives through the middle, and then he play a 1-2, he's through. So yeah, that's a position where him and Willian could easily play and swap positions, couldn't they? And I think the way Arteta sets the team up, the whole team is like footballers who he puts them in the right position, but he likes flexibility in their movement, and also a lot of players he likes hybrid footballers who he knows what their best position is, but they can adapt to a structure. And I think that's something I thought about with Pepe and Willian, because they're so flexible, such good players. They could shift positions quite easily, couldn't they?
Mm-hmm. Stephen said, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Leave Aubameyang where he's at, and we all tend to agree with that. So that's Aubameyang. The team is pretty much set up for him as well. And why would he leave the club? There's signs, and hopefully he's probably just waiting to see what kind of business the club does in terms of bringing in the targets. Auba and Partey, it's well advertised to. We're after now, and hopefully he'll be convinced to sign the contract and continue goal scoring, 20 plus goals every season for us. Any other thoughts, Gary, Darren, or Mahir on the game itself? Mahir, questions for Graham? Go ahead, Gary. First up, first served.
All right. So the one thing that I liked about having Willian out there is hopefully that's shown Saka and Pepe, kind of, the things that they can do out there, because I know they have the skill sets to do the exact same things, and the way he was able to, be the most present player out there, it seemed, all over the place, putting balls in, getting, picking up loose balls and all of that. I'm hoping that, that's one of the reasons why we brought him as well, is to kind of, to show the future, midfield and forwards that we have, that look, this is how the game should be played, and it was good to see that out there.
And Pepe shouldn't lose heart as well. There's going to be many games for him, but the marker has been set down for him to step up to what Willian's doing and has done yesterday. So hopefully Pepe can do that. Mario, you had something?
No, I was just basically going to say the same thing. I wanted to actually ask Graham, do you think we're in a better position, or are we in a better position that we have been since the past few seasons? I mean, going forward, how long do you think it would possibly take us to be challenging for the title?
Challenging for the title. How long do you see, Graham?
I think where we are at the moment is we are probably 2 players short of challenging for the top 4. I think if he gets his 2 midfield players, Thomas Partey, and he gets Hussein Ouar, I think that we will be. I think we're gatecrash the top 4 for those 2 players, in my opinion. That would take us from probably. I think we're 5th best team in the league at the moment. I think that. Look, I think it's a process. He talked about a 3-year process, Mikel Arteta. First process is to get us back in the Champions League position, finishing in the top 4. That's the aim for this year. Second year is to try and win the Premier League, and third year is to try and win the Champions League. So he's talked about this process, hasn't he? I mean, you have to be optimistic. You have to try and set your goals high to challenge players, and I think that's what he's doing. So in terms of your question, I still think we're well short of winning the league this year. But I think at the moment, if we don't get the 2 midfield players over the line, we possibly might not get back in the top 4 this year. Although the way Arteta sets the team up, I've got tremendous belief in him that we could still do it. But on paper, I think Liverpool, Man City are a long way ahead of us. I think Chelsea have spent massively. They might be under a bit of pressure because they've spent so much money. but they have got good players, and they finished top 4 last year, so you expect them to be there. And then there's us and Man United. I think Tottenham, I look at what's going on there, and I don't think they're. I think they're falling away. But I think I think we're fifth. As it stands at the moment, I can see us finishing 5th. If we get those 2 midfield players, I think we're finishing the top 4. In terms of a championship challenge, I would like to think we'd be there in the next year or 2. And it would be great if we could win it in the next 3 years. I still think was a long way behind Liverpool, Man City, though. And Man City have always got the money to spend to get stronger. Liverpool are a very strong side. And if they keep those players, I'd like to think we could be competitive, though. That's why I asked. So we've got a chance in the next few years of challenging them. That's I think what we want as Arsenal fans.
Yeah, it's a funny old thing, football is, because teams go in cycles, Graham. Liverpool might not be the force they are now in a year and a half from now. City may still be City, but they may not spend well. Who knows what's going to happen? But I've got tremendous hope in their youngsters as well, growing and getting better. Wanted to keep you got to leave in about 11 minutes, Graham. So wanted to get through a few topics with you. Ceballos and Nketiah, I'm kind of torn on this. If you saw the incident, obviously you don't want to see it. You don't want to see it, but you do want to see it, right?
Yeah, I've seen it. So what it was,
you don't want to see your players doing this, but you do want to see it.
No. I think this has been blown out of proportion. These sort of things go on all the time. What happened was, I think, from what I gathered, was Ceballos went in and tackled him hard. They form that circle. There's a name for it, and I forget what it's called. I don't know if anyone knows the name. Do you? The name that they called it when they have a circle.
Kind of like you're trying to keep ball. The guy in the middle is trying to get the ball.
It's something like they call it a robardo or something. I forget what it's called. Something like that. And the guy loses the ball. The guy loses.
Wunchy, like dog, like basically, like he's trying to chase the person who's got down the ball. Yeah.
So the person who apparently gives the ball away eventually has to go into the middle. And what happens is Ceballos went in and tackled Nketiah in a very aggressive way, and basically he didn't like it, so he said something, and then I think the next time Nketiah got the ball, he smashed it at Ceballos, didn't he? Smashed it at him hard.
The way I saw it, Graham, was that the same thing happened and Ceballos went in the same fashion again. So. And then
I think look, it's handbags, as you've got on your caption. It's handbags. This sort of thing goes on all the time. Players have passion. They argue a lot, but I'm sure they've made up now. It was one of those things. I think it goes on all the time. I think it's been blown out of proportion because it was basically picked up on the pitch, wasn't it? And these sort of things hopefully stay in the dressing room normally or on a training ground. But look, it was one of those things. They both sort of like had a bit of an argument, and I'm sure they're best of friends now.
Yeah, and I'm sure the coach will have informed Arteta about it. Gary, your take on it?
Yeah, initially, I mean, when I saw it, I thought, it's just the pressure of the game, and then maybe it was because they weren't playing was also a little bit of it as well. But you like to see that kind of fire. If that's, you practice the way you play, that's where they were trying to do. Yeah. It maybe you rub one of the players the wrong way, but you like to see that fire. That's what we kind of want. But they need to be able to temper that.
Yeah, Ray. Can I just thank Sam Greenwood? Sam Greenwood TV. It's called a rondo. He's just put on there a rondo. Thank you, Sam.
Thanks, Sam. Yeah. You finish up there, Gary?
Yep.
Darren, your thoughts on it real quick, and then we'll get on to the last topic here for Graham.
I think it's just, as Graham said, it's one of those things that happens. You see it like when you go out and play football with your mates, and you have a bit of an argument, you move on, and that's it. They've put up on Twitter that they're fine, they get on now.
Great. Yeah, exactly. It happens. Martin Keown said the same thing. We've seen it through the Invincibles down through years, Arsenal legends. These things happen on the training pitch. You forget about it, you move on. Graham, the last topic here before we get you out of here within 5 or 6 minutes from now. Just your thoughts on, it's been a tumultuous 12 months here. Cast your minds back to September. We're going into another season with Unai Emery, with the fan base divided on our direction, and went sour for a few months. But Arteta came in and changed things around so much so. I was advocating even getting to a cup final would be a great experience for the young players, but we went ahead and won a cup as well. So just put your finger on, not that it's easy to put your finger on what happened in the last 12 months.
I think the biggest change for me has been communication. I think under Emery, there was a lack of communication between Emery and the players, and I think the players eventually lost the dressing room. I think the one thing you notice about Arteta, and when he's on that touchline, he's talking to players about 3 or 4 different languages, and basically he's able to communicate his ideas to the players better than what Emery did. So the communication I think has improved massively. I think that's the key change. I think Emery was all about. We became like under Wenger, we were a technical team who played the ball, built up in triangles through the middle of the park, played pretty football, pretty 1-2s, a lot of passing. He changed us into sort of a team that basically became. We didn't use the centre of the pitch, and we used to get it out wide and just used to play cutbacks, and that was it. And I think the players lost faith in that system. What Arteta does is that he's much more tactically astute than Emery ever was, and I think he understands how to sort of like get players in structures.
Yeah. Maher, the last year for you, big thing for me was the non-negotiables and changing the culture of the club as well.
Basically, uniting the supporters, uniting the players to know that this is one of the greatest clubs ever. Basically, class is permanent, and I just love the ideology. Even from his first few press conferences, I'm sure you guys got how well he spoke. Like you can hear that he had a plan from the beginning of how he's going to rebuild our team, our beautiful team, basically. And I mean, I loved it. I love that he proved all of us wrong. The people who said, you know what, Arteta was a gamble, but it's looking it's looking lovely, man. It's beautiful right now.
No, thanks. I want to say thanks to Graham for joining us today. I think he probably had to go as well. If you want to come back in for a minute as well, Graham, that's also fine. But we appreciate the time. Tony,
What?
how are you?
I'm fine.
All right, just really quickly, we're going to recap pretty much quickly everything that we've gone through already. I wanted to quickly whiz through all of those topics while Graham was here with us, take advantage of his time. So now I'm going to start employing the 4 of you a little bit more here. So Tony, 12 months of change from Emery. We were playing pretty narrow football, and as Graham said, poor communication was probably the key. The players didn't know what Emery wanted, and now they have a clear definition of what's required from every player on the pitch from Arteta. So much so that the players have said they know what's going to happen before it happens.
Yeah, but I just think with teams lost faith anymore than a lack of communication. I think we had enough Spanish people on the staff and team to be able to communicate what Emery wanted. I think that's just a bullshit excuse.
Right. Gary, I think we're in Caster. We're going to look around the league a little bit. We have a little bit of time here. Anyone in the comments want to put some comments in there as well? We'll get through your questions. Stephen said Arteta changed the players' attitudes. We were weak, and the dressing room was becoming toxic.
Absolutely.
Gary, great 3 points yesterday, no doubt about that. It sets us on the way very nicely now. We've got West Ham coming up, so we have to sort of cast our minds ahead to West Ham. And then we have a tricky tie at Leicester in the Carabao Cup before we go to Liverpool.
Yeah, so one of the things that I guess this is getting into the Arteta is that we've seen the gradual decline of the team, and I think when he came in, he's making, he's been making small little adjustments, I believe, in behind the scenes, and they've taken a while to come together as a whole. So, and I think we're seeing that now, little by little. I think he'll be able to get the team to where he wants it to be, and we're seeing that. Everybody knows. He seemed to gel the back line first, and now as we move hopefully to the middle, he'll be able to help that with some new recruits coming in. So I'm looking forward to that. Next game, I think it'll just be another step, another one of those tests, one of those 38 tests that we have every year. Another one for us to
another one
work
for
on.
us to traverse, right?
Yeah.
Graham, if you're still watching, Graham, thanks so much for coming on. Really enjoyed it.
Thank you, Graham.
All five of us enjoyed it as well. So, real treat to have you on, and we were able to pick your brain a little bit. Now we'll pick each other's brain a little bit. So, Gary, we got West Ham coming up. I'm going to stay with you for a second, Gary.
Yeah.
West Ham coming up. They are in all kinds of turmoil. They have problems at the club as well. And we're going to try and get maybe a West Ham supporter in the next podcast to come on with us and talk about that. But we should be targeting 3 more points before we hit choppy waters, let's say.
Yeah, and we'll probably get to see, maybe we'll see some new faces out there as well. Maybe Saliba will get a chance to get out there, unless Arteta has a different plan. But it'd be nice to see that, maybe Saka as well. So I'm looking forward to looking forward to the lineup next week and seeing where we go with it. So hoping for we should there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to score with against West Ham as well as we did against Fulham as we get better and better accustomed to the plan that Arteta has. Yep.
And playing at home, I hear we seem to be a lot better at home, obviously.
Yeah.
Are we playing at home versus West Ham?
Yeah, we're playing at home versus West Ham.
Can I give another prediction? I'd love to see another two Willian assists. Yeah.
I bet Pepe is not looking forward to that, right, Darren?
Yeah, it'd be interesting because I think if we've got Willian now, he knows what his abilities are, especially with that free kick. It shows how dangerous he can be. I think if we can beat Fulham, surely West Ham should be easy as well.
Yeah. Unfortunately for West Ham, they're targeting a win against Fulham and maybe a draw against another team, West Brom, until Christmas. So it's going to be a tough time for if you're a West Ham supporter. I think it's going to be a tough time. We have loftier ambitions. We hopefully spend the money from Emi Martinez and go and get some of our targets. Wrestle Auba from Lyon and Partey from Madrid. And as Graham said, we get those 2 players in. We build up our midfield, Tony, from Elneny, Ceballos, Xhaka, to adding those 2 in, where we've instantly improved our team in our midfield by about 75%.
Yeah, but we don't need Party, according to the fans yesterday, saying that Arteta can coach up Xhaka better than Party.
Okay, that's a section of our fan base. That the same section, maybe, Gary, that wanted Jose Mourinho in the house as well. So what are you going to do? But 6 points. It's looking a lot like last season. 6 points in the bag if we beat West Ham. And then we go to Anfield, Mahir.
I mean, I'd love to hear what Darren and Gary have to say about this. But it's going to be choppy waters when we go to some of the bigger teams. So I really honestly I pray that we are able to get Thomas Partey, because he totally transformed that midfield. 75% more like 85%. I mean, yes, Ceballos is a very good player. No doubt about that. We know what my thoughts also are on Granit Xhaka. I mean, and the others are just too young to get the grasp of what we need right now. The likes of like the Joe Willocks and Reese Nelsons. They're just a bit too young right now to get the full gist of what we're trying to do. But Awar, Pote, Ceballos, then I put Xhaka there as well. Just keep them there. The four of them, I mean, surely. And with the likes of William, hopefully staying consistent, stay doing what he does. I'm sure I'm gonna have a regret not putting him in my fantasy team because I have a feeling he's going to have. You know, I've said this for a while now, guys.
Hmm.
I have a feeling Willian is actually going to have maybe one of his best seasons in the Premier League. I know it's a big statement, but we'll just sit back and watch the show unfold.
Well, let's go to Gary for a second, then we'll go to Darren. But Gary, Pepe now has to sort of produce. If he wants to get into the team, he's gonna have an opportunity with games coming. After seeing what Willian did yesterday, I'm hoping that he can step up and start producing as well.
Yeah, I mean, Pepe. I think the way he finished up the year, I'm expecting him to improve on that, and then having William there to kind of be that challenge. Like, I can do that too. And we've seen it, right? We've seen that cross from the right hand side to an open Auba, and it's always
perfect.
ends up in the back of the net. So
Yeah.
we've seen it. We want to see it more, of course, and I think he has the he can do that. So I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, I'm expecting big things from Pepe, and with William there, I think we have a really good, a really tough offense to kind of to challenge these teams that are out there. So looking forward to that. Yeah. Now the Liverpool game, I wish it was a couple of games, further out, so that we can get the team, but those that are playing right now into a little rhythm before we play them.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to be defending a lot more than we want to probably to start that game early in the season.
You can make an argument both ways, Gary. You could say Liverpool are not playing really well right now. They've conceded goals against Leeds. Leeds look like they are going to be a very, very difficult proposition this season, and they gave us a game back in January.
Yeah. Well, as I was watching that game, I was wondering if I wanted them to lose or not, because I'd rather them lose their first game of the season to us than to have it come this close or lose already and come into that Arsenal game, and there'll be a lot more pressure on them. So the fact that they were able to just squeak it out means that the next game, we'll probably see a totally, I would expect to see a different team from them, and then when they play us, to be a little bit better as well. So, but we get our second win, and then we go to that game, with 2 wins. I'll take that.
Absolutely. Mahir, I know that you have to dip out now. You have to do your usual Roadrunner thing.
Me.
Yep. Meep. But much love to you guys. I mean, the panel, thank you so much for being part of tonight's podcast. Really much love from me here from South Africa, and to our subscribers that watch.
Yeah.
Yours truly.
Thank you, Mahir.
Thanks, Mahir. Take care. So Alonso has asked to come on as well. So Alonso, I just sent you the link if you want to join us as well. Darren, that Aubameyang goal. It all started from playing up in the back.
Yeah, it's like the previous games he's done. He always has that sort of shots that you think, oh wow, it's like the unexpected goal, especially like the long shots. And sort of going back to Martinez, I think because even if we play against him, he knows what Aubameyang's shots are like. So there's good side and the bad side of of him going, but because we've got, like I said, we've got Aubameyang, we've got Willian, we've got our strong goal scorers as well. So we've got Willian at his speed, we've got Pepe with his speed. So I think we'll do well. Especially with who we have now. But as I said, against big teams, especially with Leeds coming up, I think Leeds is going to be a bit of a challenge, I think, if I'm honest.
Yeah, we face Leeds in middle of November, but Yeah, it's almost like Tony. The goalkeeper is going to have to start covering that half of the goal, and Aubameyang needs to start shooting through the near post rather than the far post, because
switch it up a
it's
bit.
like they know what he's going to do, but you just can't stop him, right?
Hey guys.
Hey, Lonzo.
Hey Darren. Hey Gary. Hey Tony.
Hello, Alonso.
All right, Tony. You know what Aubameyang's going to do, but you just can't stop him, right?
Yeah, the keeper should know what he's going to do. I think not having the fans there kind of throws them off balance more because they have more time to sit there and think, and they just end up screwing up and letting him have an easy goal.
All right, Alonso. Let's get a first perspective of the game yesterday. 3-0. It's almost a perfect game. We get 3 points. We scored 3 goals. We could have scored more. We have a clean sheet. Our debutants, Willian and Gabriel, have man of the match type performances. Aubameyang keeps doing what Aubameyang does. It keeps getting better and better the more I speak. Ainsley Maitland-Niles drives into the box and creates pretty much this space for Aubameyang for the first goal. Take it from there.
Yeah, so it was pretty nice seeing Aubameyang and seeing that scramble to Xhaka. He gets his shot blocked, yeah, but it was still pretty productive in having the ball inside the goal and have William just attack the net like that, and Lacazette just finished.
And the internet froze. like Arsenal's season after the 5th or 6th game, where we start getting a few draws away from home, and we have to remember we're going to have some difficult games as well around about then. So we'll wait for Alonso to come back. Anyone in the comments drop a few questions? Rule said the Auba goal was a replay of the Liverpool goal. Have you seen Greenwood apologizing for sniffing the balloons? Happy gas? Nope, haven't seen that, Stephen. And Alonso. But Tony, great result. We move forward. West Ham. We're going to close it out here pretty soon. Guys, we got about 13 likes on this live so far. So if you have a moment, take a moment, hit the like on the video, and subscribe if you're new around here.
Here's Alonso.
Sorry, guys.
All right, you were saying something about a fantastic win. I don't know what the hell you were talking about.
No, it was just
3-0 win for Arsenal. I'm not sure I'm hearing you right.
It was just Lacazette scoring was very important for him and for his confidence, and it just took a while to actually get going, especially at the restart. So it was good for him and good for everyone just getting involved with that goal. It seemed like,
Let's go around the team and talk about the goalkeeping, defending as a general, and midfield general, and forwards general, and hit those likes like Gary just said. Thank you, Gary. Start off with you, Gary. Goalkeeper situation. It's tough that we're losing Emi Martinez, but we have a capable goalkeeper in Bernd Leno that we've known about him all season. He's been the 3rd most worked goalkeeper in the Premier League.
Yeah, and hopefully, he won't be as worked this season with a better structure and with Saliba and Gabriel joining, and from what we saw yesterday, hopefully, that will continue. So the chances will go down, and he won't have to work as hard. And when he does, he'll be ready. So I'm looking forward to that. So I think
he'll be able to have a cigar somewhere in the middle of the game, right?
That would be nice. Yes,
it would be nice. Darren, your thoughts on goalkeeping?
I was pretty impressed with Leno. I was a little bit nervous the fact because he's obviously been off injured for a while. I thought, is he going to be as good as Martinez? But I can't complain about him. He was on top form yesterday, and hopefully that will carry on for the rest of the season. So yeah, I've got no complaints.
Yeah. Thanks, Darren. So Alonso, as Graham said earlier, they've had that conversation. Martinez wanted to move on. The club has looked to cash in on that asset that has increased probably fourfold in the last 3 or 4 months. But Bernd Leno, we should remember, is a very capable goalkeeper, and we have to just hope that injuries don't rear their ugly head.
Yeah, like Tony said earlier in the podcast, if it wasn't for him getting hurt, he probably would have been Arsenal's Player of the Year because he kept us in a lot of the games that we didn't score a lot of goals in, so he was pretty good as far as goaltending wise. And losing Martinez really kind of hurts because he was a good goalkeeper. I think that when he leaves, he was taken for granted. We were taken for granted, obviously, but it was just a tough
I
call.
thought you said we could take Granite. When he leaves, you could take Granite.
Well, so yeah, I mean, I think that it was pretty. I think Arteta knows what he's talking about. I think Leno had a good show yesterday, and I think it was also important that he had a clean sheet coming back from injury as well. So, I think that at the end of the day, I think Amy Martinez should go because it's worth it for him to be that number one goalkeeper.
Yeah. Sam, great question about midfield. We'll hold that till we talk about midfield. Tony, the goalkeeper, we're well set there, right?
Yeah, I think we're well set, but we'll still have to go get another backup now that Emmy's leaving.
It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. You get 20 million and you're going to spend half of it on another goalkeeper. You'll net probably 10, But that's it is what it is. We have to trust Arteta and the club. For me, as I talked about, I think there's a plan, there's a deliberate plan, and it's just going to take some time in this transfer window. We can't just go out and get. It's not that easy, apparently, to go out and get.
We refuse to.
We refuse to pay over the odds, right? Gary, the back three. Let's take the back three: Tierney, Holding, and Gabriel. Now, Gabriel, debutant. I thought he had a great game, as well documented already. For me, Holding. We know what Tierney is. You're always going to get that out of Tierney. So we actually don't talk enough about Tierney sometimes, just because he's competent. You know what I mean? And Holding kept on using his right foot and switching the ball toward the left wing. Did anyone notice that he was very dominant using his right foot, not to the right wing, but to the left wing?
Yeah, it looked like a lot of the ball was going up the left side more than it had to. Would have been So it looked like we were definitely dominant on that one left hand side. I think as a back three, they did pretty well. I mean, working together, covering for each other. So it was good to see that back there. Gabriel seemed
happy there was no Mitrovic as well, right?
Yeah. But I think with that defense, I think we would have been okay because even when he did come on, we seemed to still be able to at least get it, keep between him and the goal. So I thought we did all right there. I don't know if he would have been able to last the whole game doing that. So I think, I think we did well.
Yeah. And Darren, a lot of fans are saying, well, don't even say it was just Fulham, likely relegation favorites at this point in time. We have to give Arsenal credit, especially at the back, for looking secure and being secure and getting that clean sheet.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't know what was going on with Fulham, but I mean, the amount of times they gave us the ball, it's like, you may as well say it is ball, take it. That's how it came across to me with Fulham. And they gave it to us to read. Not that I'm complaining, the fact of how they gave us the ball every 5 minutes, but yeah, it's a one time for them, but good for us, really.
Alonso, your thoughts on the back three? They did quite well without David Luiz.
Yeah, and I think that Rob Holding had a good game as well. I think that sometimes he gets scrutinized a lot because he makes mistakes, but he played very well yesterday, and I was really impressed with not just him, but also Gabriel being their first time in the Premier League, as well as his Arsenal shirt. And Tierney, I like how he moved up when he needed to and made a good contribution as well. So I think what's important, and it's always important, is that you have a clean sheet as well. And I think they've played it very well. I think
I,
there was a stat that I saw or I heard on the commentary that Fulham were on top of passing in the final third, but they're last in conversion. So that's pretty interesting because they were passing the ball in the final third, but can never get a shot on target, and that was pretty crazy.
yeah, Tony. The back three. Sounds like I'm laboring the point here, but we've probably said everything we need to. But if I'd have went to the wing backs right now, you would have complained you didn't get your say on the back three. So I kind of have to go to you with the back three.
I would have commented it anyway.
You probably would have, Tony. You probably would have.
For me yesterday, I don't think Tierney got enough credit because he kept flying back to the back, running back really fast to help cover back there. I was surprised to see Gabriel, but I think he did an excellent job. Wouldn't be surprised if we see more of him than Saliba this year.
The one thing I wanted to say about Gabriel is to score in your debut as well. That's a sign of a pretty decent player. An uncontested header, but we'll take it. Right?
Yeah, still a goal.
They still count just as much as Aubameyang's screamer. All right, Gary, let's talk about the wing backs, Ainsley Maitland-Niles and Bellerin. Like I said earlier, Ainsley Maitland-Niles foraging runs forward. I think he distracts the players, even if he doesn't. He's not very good in the box at times, but he does make the defense have to account for him, and that was part of the build up to the first goal.
Yeah, and that's one of the things. I mean, he'll have to work on that, but I think his defense makes up for whatever he lacks on the offensive side. So I think I'll take that. I'll take that all day because that's been our Achilles heel. It's been that defense. So if he's solid on the defensive side, I'll take it every day.
Yep.
Bellerin. Yeah, he also. I mean, I didn't hear his name much, and I didn't feel like I got to see him play much. It just seemed so. It was a quiet day for him, at least from what I saw and what I heard from the commentary. But he didn't. Besides that one takedown, right in front of the box, that was like probably the only time I really heard his name as much. Otherwise, he was doing what he needed to do, and we didn't see that many mistakes coming from his side or anything like that. So quiet day, and I believe a lot of time for even Tierney, I didn't hear his name as much, which I guess is a good thing because the ball's getting out and pushed up the field and moved along. So I think that if that's how the game's going to go, where it's pretty quiet for some of these players, but we win 3-0, I'll take it every day.
Exactly. Yeah, routine. And you're right. Bellerin had an accomplished game, but not really asked to do too much or needed to do too much, like you said. Is everything okay? We jump into midfield now. If you didn't have your say in Ainsley Maitland-Niles, you can speak now if you want, Tony.
I thought he was kind of invaluable making his runs into the middle because it freed Lacazette up to go ahead and be a number 9 instead of our defensive forward.
Finally, he's a number 9, Tony. Finally, you're happy.
I just make a comment real quick about the difference between Kolasinac and Tierney being in the left center back position, and it kind of shows you how Tierney is more faster, but yet more, I guess, smarter than Kolasinac is as far as tracking back and being less mistake prone.
Yes.
So yeah, I just hope that
it's really unfair. It's really unfair to Kolasinac because you have the player in that position and Kolasinac, who's probably got the worst skill set at the club, versus the player who's probably got the best mentality and the best player in that position, probably in the Premier League. So Kolasinac is really going to look like chopped liver compared to Tierney.
Yeah.
Every time it's just a really unfair comparison, and tough for Kolasinac. So all he can really be is minder during those rondos. Because I believe he was the one who was involved in separating Ceballos and Nketiah yesterday. Let's jump into midfield, Tony. Let's talk about Granit Xhaka or more about El Neni if you want to.
I'll talk about El Neni.
Right, you got El Neni.
I think he didn't really put a foot wrong like he usually does. I never understood why the fans have such a dislike about him. He's never really made the mistakes or had the bad games. Maybe he's not as talented as the other players, but he always gives 100%, 110%. He's always got to give a great shift. I don't know why the fans aren't more behind him. And the fans seem to be trying to say Arteta's made him better. No, he's the same player he's always been. Just goes out there and plays.
Yeah. Darren, what you think about Granit Xhaka and El Neni yesterday?
Xhaka is one of my favourite players. So I was quite pleased with how he performed. Maybe a little bit improvement, but I think overall, yeah, that's one of my favourite players. I was quite pleased with the passing and sort of, keeping the possession of the ball in midfield. So I was quite happy with him.
And Gary, definitely, we can't go through the whole season with El Neni and Granit Xhaka as our mainstays in midfield. So we're all looking to our Partey or our to boost and bolster that midfield. But speak a little bit about yesterday, El Neni and Xhaka.
I mean, this is a testament to Arteta. He's typically been able to put a lot of these players in the positions to succeed consistently, and as long as they follow the plan that he has put down, you usually see good things from them. Maybe not the best, but we definitely see them play some sound football out there, and I think that's what we got yesterday. That pairing didn't, from what I can tell, it didn't seem like they gave us, they did give us some scoring chances, but not probably as much as we probably wanted from coming through.
Yeah, there was
middle.
Actually, in my notes, there's one sequence where both our midfielders were involved in a shot. So, and then his shot was blocked, and it comes to Granit Xhaka. And I'm thinking, score for Tony, please score for Tony.
Yeah, I was hoping El Neni, when he took that shot, was going to go to the far corner, and he came back, I think, towards the right and hit one of the defenders square on his leg. So, but I think, but I definitely. He definitely puts the players in positions to where they look good out there. Could they be better? This might be their ceiling, and that's why a lot of people want to see improvements on it. Is that he may be able to get as much as out of them as what we've seen so far, but we probably do definitely need to improve on it. Whether that's the players around them making it easier for them to get them more space or whatnot, but they're serviceable. Are they long term? I'm not sure. Especially if the goal is to win, be top of the league and win, make it in the Champions League and go forward there.
Gary, do you know what's going to happen when Granit Xhaka scores?
Nope. What's going to happen?
Tony will make himself unavailable for a podcast immediately afterwards.
Don't you celebrate his goal, right? Don't act like
Yeah, the one thing we see now, we've got enough people to score that if Xhaka doesn't score, we'll be fine.
Yeah, we'll be okay. We'll be okay. I'm just poking Tony. He knows that. Let's jump into the forwards. We'll take them all as a group. The three up front plus Willian. Alonso, you get to go first.
Yeah, and like I said before, I think the movement between the three was pretty good. I mean, I think that it shows that they have pace, and with Lacazette, he's a type of striker that he could pass and he could really score, go for glory. So I think that it was pretty good to see him score, and it was pretty cool to see Aubameyang score as well, and also Willian getting 3 or 2 assists that he did. So I think they're both active, and I think that in the future will cause a lot of damage to teams, and especially whenever we have Pepe, Aubameyang, and Lacazette and Willian on the same team. I think to be pretty all had before.
And Alonso slowing down just like our midfield transition.
Moving forward.
Ball goes to Xhaka.
The ball goes to Xhaka and slows down. He slowed up there, Alonso. Just like Granit Xhaka on the ball.
Yeah, I think that movement was looks pretty good, you know.
Really good movement with Aubameyang, and Willian seems to be playing like almost like he's Premiership ready, almost like he's been playing in the Premiership before. You know, these kind of signings that we should have gotten down through the years. He's able to go from day one. We're not waiting until mid-October until we can integrate a player into our team. Right, Tony? It's a good thing with Willian, right?
Yeah,
Don't talk about how much he's on now.
Or his 10 million signing on bonus.
Don't talk about how much he's getting paid. He's a product on the field.
Yeah, we need to go in and get more Premier League proven players. I still would have went out and got Aki for a center back. I think it's something we need to do. I don't know why we don't go get Premier League proven players.
Well, as Graham had said earlier, you know, he has twice the production that Pepe had last season. So we're going to be going for about another 5 minutes and we'll get out of here. Darren, on the forwards.
I'd say, I mean, looking at that Lacazette back heel and then sort of back, that was a good move. Yeah, that little back heel that Lacazette did. You know, it's little things like that. He can
I missed
do
that.
little tricks and to get the ball in. And I think that's what I like about him as well. Aubameyang is just dangerous with the long shots. And
The team is set up for Aubameyang right now. We have to find a way maybe to spread the goals around. Lacazette, Tony, Lacazette has to score more than last season, right?
Yep.
Will he?
Yep.
All right,
Yeah.
everyone watching now, we are going to do a predictions. We're going to do a predictions podcast close to October when all of us here, well, Gary and Tony, maybe Alonso will be in. I think it'll be a Thursday night. But Darren, you can definitely get your predictions in as well. Let me know. We're going to do a full-on prediction podcast, and we're going to open it up at the end of the year and see who's right and who's wrong. Right, Tony?
Yep. I got to wait 4 weeks for mine to come out.
Yeah, we're going to give everybody the benefit of knowing. I want no excuses for these predictions. Every one of us is going to know who's in the team, who's not in the team when it comes October 6th, okay? So we'll probably set it up for mid-October. I'll give you about 10 days to figure it out. That's plenty of time. Gary, you pretty much get close to the final say here on the forwards.
Yeah, it was good to see them out there, and William definitely made it easy for the offense and those forwards to get out there and be able to attack the goal. I mean, on that one segment where Auba got that long pass out to the left side and was able to pull by that cross to Xhaka, there were 5 players inside the third. I mean,
Yes.
at that point, right? 5 players actually touched the ball before it went in the back of the net. And that was good to see because in the past we probably have 1 or 2 players back there and no chance of a goal because they just smother it up. So it was good for us to be out there and be on the attack. And hopefully you see that more as even as the competition gets better, that we're still able to continue with that pressure from the front line. And It doesn't matter if it's William or Pepe or even Saka up top. They're kind of putting pressure on the goal. It'd be nice to see that same thing continue. And I assume that's what Arteta wants, so that's what we'll see consistently.
And what I saw, Gary, is I'm always looking at Liverpool and City and what they've done the last 3 or 4 years. That was a goal that City would have scored. You get an overload in the box. The shot, it goes to a goalkeeper. The goalkeeper parries in. Raheem Sterling or someone like that is there on the doorstep to put it away. So we're starting to see signs of things getting better. Listen, 14 likes on the live. If you could make it 15 likes, we're halfway there. And then it's over to the crew who watches this show on playback, because I know we need to get the people on playback to hit the like button as well. I don't know how we can do it more innovatively. If you do get us to 30 likes, I will sing or something like that. I'll do something crazy if you get us to 30 likes for a video. But listen, I want to thank all of you here. We're going to get quick final thoughts. Darren, your quick final thoughts?
Can I just mention about the holding, the Henry skill? Is it holding that did that skill?
Holdinho?
The Henry.
The holding? Rob Holding?
Yeah.
Holdinho.
Holdinho.
Robinho.
Alonso,
Yeah.
thanks for joining me late here. Any quick words?
Yeah, the future is bright for Arsenal. I think they started off really well. I hope that it just continues the way Arteta wants it to be. His team. This is his team now, so I think our expectations are a little bit higher than previous seasons. So we have a lot to look forward to this year. I think.
Yeah. And Sam Greenwood, thanks for joining us in the chats. We'll see you on Thursday night. Thanks for giving us the rondo. I didn't know what the rondo was. West Ham are in turmoil. We do need to smash them. Willian keeping Saka on the bench too. Yeah. And listen, every player's going to have an opportunity. Tony, final thoughts. What's your beer for today? Come on. This is a new segment we're going to do. Beer of the day.
Sam Adams.
Sam Adams. Okay. It's a new segment we're going to bring in for the beer enthusiasts.
For Gary.
Thank you. I was going to say you took my thunder there when you mentioned the beer of the day. I had it on my notes. Not really, but I was going to say it.
All right. That's going to be a segment for Gary. It'll give me, your host, one less thing to worry about.
Got it.
Give Gary a little bit more responsibility, which I love it. He's already, everyone here brings something to the podcast, right, Tony?
Yep.
Right, Alonso? Everybody brings something,
sir.
right, Darren?
I bring stats and beer.
There you go.
Listen, you're all great. Gary, you get your final say.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to the next game, and Arteta, the team is, we're seeing little by little better things from the team. So I'm expecting the same thing next week, the next game, and looking forward to it. Seeing who shows up for the next match, and who are we talking about next. I know we've got some new players out there that you want to see for this season, and looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's going to be a beer segment for the alcoholics. Tony thinks we're going to get some kind of sponsorship. We'll see what happens, right?
That'd be nice.
Beer didn't live in the 1700s. The beer, I didn't live in the 1700s. Sam Adams, I think. Listen, that has been our show. Thanks to Graham for coming on earlier. Really appreciate it. Thanks to Meep. You all know who he is. The co-host, Mahir, he had to leave. Darren, thank you. Gary, thank you as always. And Tony, thank you for being you, Tony. Alonso, listen, thanks Alonso. If you enjoyed this and you want to know where to find us again, we're back on Thursday night here in the States on the East Coast, 1:30 in UK time. Sam Greenwood will be joining us. We'll have a few other things going on. Catch us then. We're probably going to do next weekend. We're going to do a Saturday podcast. So we'll see who's available to join us, who's not, because I just threw a curveball right there, and everyone they didn't know about it. Adams, Bowl, Dixon, and Winterburn. Is that Sam Adams, Darren? No, it's the great Tony Adams. Thanks for joining us, Stephen, Sam, and all of you, the assembled. People on playback, you're watching, hit that like button. Let's get us to 30 for Graham joining us today. Great 3 points. We're 4.5% there. Let's add on another 4.5% next weekend.
Yep.
Say good night, Tony.
Good night, Tony.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you.